We live in a world addicted to noise. Everyone's talking, talking to be heard, talking to be seen, talking just to fill the silence. You scroll through social media and it's endless boasting, yelling, pretending, performing. It's like the louder someone is, the more they believe they matter. But here's the truth. Real strength doesn't scream. It doesn't need to. The wisest people I've ever met are often the quietest in the room. Not because they're shy, not because they're afraid, but because they understand something deeper. Words have a cost, and not every thought deserves to be shared. There's a kind of silence that only the disciplined carry. It's not passive. It's not weak. It's the silence of someone who's mastered themselves. Think about it. A storm makes noise, but it's the still mountain that endures. In a world chasing attention, the wise chase alignment. They let their actions speak. And trust me, when they do, the world listens. So today, we're diving into a truth that most overlook: why silence isn't absence, it's power, and why those who speak less often live more. Stay with me. Imagine you're sitting in a coffee shop, notebook open, passion overflowing. The temptation is huge. Tweet the project, post the vision board, announce to friends, "This year I'm launching something big." But every time you broadcast a dream too early, you trade momentum for applause. Epictetus put it perfectly. Don't explain your philosophy, live it. The minute we speak our plans, we invite opinions, doubts, even subtle envy. And let's be honest though, many great ideas have stalled because someone else's raised eyebrow made us question ourselves. Think of a seed. If you dig it up every day to show the neighbors it's growing, it never takes root. Your goals are the same. They demand darkness, warmth, and patience before they sprout. The quiet phase isn't inactivity, it's incubation. Ask yourself, which matters more, talking about the marathon or feeling sweat hit the pavement at 5 a.m.? For me, the answer became clear when I built my first online course. The modules I hyped on Instagram fizzled. The one I built in silence? It paid my rent for a year, because while I was coding instead of posting, the work compounded. So, next time you feel that itch to announce, pause, pour that energy back into action. Write one more page, learn one more skill, make one more call. Let your results roar so loudly that when you finally speak, you're simply confirming what the world can already see. Let's talk about a kind of silence that social media hates: the silence around our struggles. Scroll any feed and pain is everywhere. Heartbreak threads, anxiety reels, raw honesty posts that rack up likes faster than cat videos. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Most people click for curiosity, not compassion. Your story becomes content, and the crowd moves on, a little entertained, none the wiser. The Stoic thinker Seneca warned us centuries ago, "A man is only as unhappy as he has convinced himself he is." When we rehearse our pain for an audience, we reinforce the script that we're victims. I learned this after a brutal business failure. I wanted to live stream every setback, get sympathy, prove I was still fighting. Instead, I unplugged, I journaled, I ran miles at dawn. In that quiet, something shifted. The problem stopped defining me, and a plan started forming. Ask yourself, if no one could applaud your vulnerability, would you still share it? That question changed my life. It forced me to see healing as a private covenant, not a public performance. Of course, seek help when you need it. Talk to a therapist, a trusted friend. But remember, power grows in the soil of solitude. When you stop feeding pain to the algorithm, you start feeding strength to your soul. Guard your battles. Fight them in the dark gym of the mind. And when you walk back into the light, walk in whole, not because the internet patched you up, but because you forged yourself, quietly, into someone unbreakable. Have you ever walked into a meeting and noticed the one person who says almost nothing, then, at the end, drops a single line that reshapes the entire conversation? Their words land like thunder because they're rare. Real knowledge never needs a megaphone. It carries its own gravity. Socrates nailed this centuries ago. The only true wisdom is knowing you know nothing. The instant we feel compelled to prove how smart we are, insecurity is usually begging for applause. I've been there. Early in my career, I filled every silence with statistics, acronyms, TED Talk, quotes until a senior engineer pulled me aside and whispered, "If you're talking, you're not learning." That sting became a turning point. I began asking questions instead of answering imaginary ones, and mentors suddenly appeared where critics used to stand. Think about your last conversation. Did you listen for the pauses or rush to fill them? In those quiet beats live the cluestone shifts, unfinished thoughts, raw insight waiting to be uncovered. The Stoics called this disciplined attention prosoche, a focused presence that values understanding over performance. So here's a challenge. At your next team call, aim to speak 80% less. Take notes. Let curiosity replace commentary. When you finally contribute, make it count-tone, precise observation, not a flood of noise. Your silence will speak volumes, and your words will echo long after the chatter fades. Ever notice how the best chess players sit in absolute stillness before they strike? Every piece already mapped out in their minds, yet they reveal nothing until the winning move snaps into place. Your life strategy deserves that same quiet focus. Here's the danger. The second you broadcast your next step, you hand the board to the opposition. Jealous eyes want to pivot your success into their shortcut. Well-meaning friends offer tweaks that derail momentum. Even algorithms start nudging you toward vanity metrics instead of real progress. Ancient wisdom saw this coming. Epictetus challenged his students. If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid. Translation? Let people underestimate you while you perfect the craft behind closed doors. Think of Apple's product launches. Months, sometimes years of hushed prototypes, guarded rooms, engineers sworn to secrecy. Then one keynote, and the market shifts overnight. The hype isn't in the chatter, it's in the reveal. I learned this training for my first half marathon. When I posted every run, likes replaced discipline. Missing a workout meant losing face, so I lied to keep the feed alive. The breakthrough came when I went dark, no apps, no selfies, just sunrise pavement and steadiness. Race day, personal record, and the cheers were real because the work was real. So here's your question. Can you bear the silence long enough to let greatness germinate? If yes, lock the plan away, sharpen in private, and unleash it only when the outcome is undeniable. Remember, strategy survives in shadow, but it triumphs in daylight. Have you noticed how pain sells online? A breakup video, a hospital selfie, a tear-filled confession, millions of views in a heartbeat. The world calls it authentic. The Stoics called it a trap. Marcus Aurelius put it sharply. If it's bearable, bear it, don't complain. He wasn't shaming emotion. He was warning us that public suffering rarely heals. It entertains. It shocks. It might even trend, but deep down, it keeps the wound open. I learned this after losing my father. I nearly posted daily grief updates, craving sympathy to fill the silence. Then a mentor asked, does the internet deserve your heartbreak, or does your heart deserve your full attention? That question flipped the script. Instead of chasing comments, I chased sunrise, runs, therapy sessions, and quiet dinners with friends who listened more than they spoke. The pain didn't vanish overnight, but it hardened into resolve rather than softening into self-pity. Here's a thought experiment. If no one could like your sadness, how would you choose to heal? Journaling, nature, prayer? Real growth happens in those unfiltered spaces, where algorithms can't trade your tears for clicks. Of course, seek professional help when needed. Stoicism isn't denial, but before you hit share, pause. Ask, am I moving forward or am I monetizing my misery? Carry your scars with stillness, and they become armor. Broadcast them, and they stay open wounds the crowd can poke forever. Choose the quiet road. Let healing be your silent revolution. Picture this. You've got a brilliant ID startup, screenplay, fitness comeback. Excited, you lay it all out at dinner. Timelines, tactics, every milestone. Heads nod, questions fly, advice piles up. By dessert, you feel exhausted, and by Monday, the spark is gone. Why? Because you spent the fuel on conversation instead of execution. The Stoic guide Epictetus reminds us, don't demand events to happen as you wish them to happen as they do. Translation? The future is a storm of moving parts. Economy shifts, tech pivots, even our own motivation rises and falls. The more detail we broadcast, the more we bind ourselves to a version of reality we can't control. Think of NASA's Apollo 8 mission. The public only learned the exact launch window days beforehand. Behind the curtain, thousands of engineers refined calculations up to the final hour. Secrecy wasn't about hiding it was about preserving flexibility. One variable off, and history changes. My own lesson came while training for a triathlon. The first time, I posted weekly distance goals and felt heroic until an injury forced me to scale back. Public promises turned to public apologies. Round 2, I kept silent, adjusted when needed, and crossed the finish line before anyone knew I'd entered. So here's your reflection. Would you rather impress people now or inspire them later? Guard your blueprint. Iterate in the shadows. Spend energy on building, not just telling. When the moment is right, reveal a finished product that speaks louder than any preview ever could. So here we are back at the edge of silence. After everything we've explored, one truth remains unshaken. Real power matures in quiet rooms, and wisdom blooms when the tongue learns restraint. Every virtue we've talked about, discipline, resilience, strategic focus, germinates in that still space between impulse and action. Before you click away, pause and scan your own life. Where does noise eclipse progress? Is it the comment thread you can't resist? The endless status updates? The late-night venting session that never truly heals? What would happen if, just for the next week, you replaced one public broadcast with a private Practice 5 silent minutes of journaling or a dawn workout where only the sunrise bears witness? I can tell you what happened for me. Fewer apologies, more finished projects, fewer arguments, deeper connections. The moment I stopped spilling every thought into the world, my inner world started speaking back clearer, kinder, stronger. So here's my invitation. Stay silent, stay strong, and keep perfecting the art of living. When the world shouts, meet it with quiet confidence. When it demands proof, let your results answer. And if this journey toward purposeful silence resonates with you, join our little fellowship of the unheard. Hit subscribe, tap the bell, and walk with the few who choose depth over decibels. Remember, friends, self-control isn't just a skill, it's the purest form of freedom. Guard it, grow it, and watch everything else fall into place.